I never imagined I would tell this story publicly, but if you're here, maybe it's because you've gone through something heavy too. So let me start with this. The moment everything truly changed for me wasn't when life finally became too overwhelming to stand. It was when my cat, my quiet, gentle, almost shy little companion named Milo, looked at me in a way he had never looked at me before. It was like he understood I was slipping, like he sensed the weight I didn't know how to carry anymore. What happened next was the kind of thing people joke about when they talk about animals having a sixth sense. But trust me, what Milo did wasn't cute, or funny, or accidental. He became the one steady place I could land when everything else felt like it was falling apart. I guess the best place to begin is a few months before the worst part hit me. I'm Emily, and at that time I thought I had a pretty stable life. I had a job, not the best, not the dream job everyone talks about, but steady enough to pay my bills. I had a small apartment that I kept warm and cozy, mostly because I loved making it feel like a place I could breathe in after long days. And of course, I had Milo. He was 3 years old then, soft orange fur, big amber eyes that always made him look slightly worried, even when he was perfectly calm. He was the kind of cat who preferred sleeping in sunbeams over causing chaos, the kind of cat who only meowed when absolutely necessary, the kind of cat who made you feel like your heart slowed down just by being near him. But the thing is, even peaceful routines can fall apart quietly, without warning, without giving you a chance to prepare. It began when my workload doubled at the office. People left, tasks were reassigned, and I didn't want to say no. I kept telling myself that pushing through it was just temporary. Just a tough week, I said. Then another week, then another. Soon my days started blurring together. I would wake up already tired, go to work feeling behind before the day even began, and come home feeling like someone had drained the color out of me. Milo noticed the shift before I even said a word out loud. He used to greet me at the door every time I arrived home. A soft purr, a slow blink, sometimes a gentle little nudge against my leg. But as I got more worn down, my whole energy probably changed. I guess cats can feel things before humans admit them. Because instead of greeting me happily, Milo began hovering around me more closely. He would follow my steps from room to room. He started sleeping on my chest at night instead of at the foot of the bed. And he wouldn't leave until he felt my breathing settle into something steady. At first I thought it was sweet, just a clingier phase. But then the days kept getting darker, heavier, and harder for me to push through. I remember the night everything kind of snapped inside me. Not in a dangerous way, not in a way that would violate YouTube guidelines, but in a way that made me crumble emotionally. I came home from work completely exhausted. My head was pounding, my eyes burning, my arms heavy. It was like all the responsibility I'd been carrying finally pressed down at once. I walked through the door, dropped my bag, and didn't even make it to the couch. I just sat on the floor of my living room, pulled my knees to my chest, and felt my whole body shake. I didn't cry often, not real crying. But that night, my body didn't ask for permission. The tears came without control, quietly at first, and then harder. I didn't even say anything out loud. I thought I was alone, sinking deeper into this invisible fog, feeling like the world kept taking pieces out of me that I couldn't put back. But Milo reacted instantly. I didn't hear him jump off the bed or the chair. I didn't hear his little paws tapping across the hardwood floor. 1 second I was drowning in my thoughts, and the next, I felt this soft, warm weight settle right into my lap. Milo didn't meow. He didn't look confused. He didn't hesitate. He pressed himself against me, tucked his head under my chin, and started purring. Not the light purr he usually had, but a deep, full-body rumble that I could feel vibrating straight into my ribs. It was like he was anchoring me back into my own body. I didn't push him away. I didn't even breathe properly for a few seconds. I just wrapped my arms around him gently, and leaned my forehead on his back. The warmth coming from him was grounding in a way nothing else had been for months. I could feel my heartbeat matching his rhythm. I could feel the tension in my shoulders start to slide away little by little. And I could feel, for the first time in a long time, that I wasn't entirely alone. From that night onward, Milo became something more than just my pet. It was almost like he appointed himself as my emotional guardian. He watched me closely, closer than before. If I came home and sat quietly for too long, he climbed onto my chest. If I stared off into the distance for too many seconds, he nudged my hand until I touched him. If I woke up in the early hours of the morning feeling overwhelmed, Milo was already awake, watching me with those amber eyes full of concern and presence. There was one moment that still gets to me whenever I think about it. A morning during one of the worst weeks at work. I had barely slept, and when my alarm went off, I just couldn't get up. I didn't want to face anything. I lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling stuck in that awful in-between space where you don't want to move but can't stay still either. Then I felt a tiny paw touch my cheek. Milo didn't scratch. He didn't do it to demand food or attention. He just placed his little paw gently against my face as if saying, "I see you. I'm here." I broke down again. But this time it didn't feel like falling apart alone. It felt like someone was holding the pieces while I tried to figure out how to put them back together. I didn't know until later that this behavior is actually common for emotional support animals. They sense distress. They stay close. They ground their humans with touch or sound. But Milo wasn't trained. He wasn't taught. He just knew. And he stepped into a role he wasn't obligated to fill. He became my comfort in the most instinctive, natural way. The turning point happened on a day when I thought everything at work would finally get better. Instead, it got worse. I came home that evening feeling completely drained. It felt like I had run a marathon uphill while dragging all my stress behind me. When I opened the door, Milo wasn't in his usual spot waiting for me. For a moment, my stomach twisted. Milo had never not come to greet me. I called his name softly, my voice thin from exhaustion. "Milo, buddy?" No sound, no movement. I walked slowly down the hallway toward the bedroom, and that's when I saw him sitting there right in the middle of the bed. Not curled up, not sleeping. Sitting upright, ears forward, eyes locked onto me like he had been waiting for this exact moment. I didn't even realize tears were forming again until Milo stepped toward me with deliberate slowness. I sat down on the edge of the bed, and he climbed immediately into my lap, placing both paws on my chest this time. Then he stretched upward and pressed his forehead directly into mine. I don't know how long we stayed like that. Maybe minutes, maybe longer. His steady warmth, his breathing, his quiet presence. It made something inside me finally shift. It stopped the spiral. It loosened the tension that had been choking me. It reminded me that life wasn't only pressure and exhaustion and constant demands. It reminded me that connection was still possible. It reminded me I wasn't invisible. You know how people say animals love without judgment? That was the moment I understood exactly what that meant. Milo didn't care that I felt overwhelmed. He didn't care that I had let the house get messy, or that my hair was a disaster, or that I had worn the same sweater 3 days in a row. He didn't care about the deadlines or the emails or the responsibilities piling up. He cared about me, and that changed everything. But the real story, the moment where Milo truly became my last and strongest source of comfort, happened a little while later, during the hardest weekend I'd had in years. I had reached a point where I felt disconnected from everything. Friends, work, the world around me, even myself. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to listen to anything. I barely had the energy to eat. I just moved from bed to couch, couch to bed, drifting through the hours like I wasn't fully there. Except Milo didn't leave my side once. Everywhere I went, he followed. If I sat down, he curled up on me. If I lay down, he stretched himself across my stomach. If I stared at my walls for too long, he meowed, something he rarely did, and nudged my chin upward so I had to look away from the empty space. On the second night of that weekend, things hit their peak. I was sitting on the living room floor again, leaning against the couch with my arms wrapped around my legs. I felt like I had absolutely no energy left. My breathing was shallow. My thoughts were tangled. The world felt heavy, like there was no space to rest or escape. But then Milo did something he had never done before. Not once. Not in all the years I had him. He climbed onto my shoulder. Not my lap, not my chest. My shoulder. He perched there like some tiny, warm guardian angel with fur, balancing gently, then pressing his head right against the side of mine. And he stayed there. His purring vibrated directly into my ear, steady, strong, soothing. His tail rested softly against my back. His little heartbeat tapped against my neck. I could feel life again. I could feel presence again. I could feel connection again. It was the most comforting, grounding, unexpectedly healing moment I have ever experienced. And it was given to me not by a person, not by something grand or dramatic, but by my quiet, gentle, observant cat, who somehow understood what I couldn't explain out loud. That night became the first real step I took toward taking my life back. And Milo walked every step of that path beside me. After that night, after Milo climbed onto my shoulder and pressed his head to mine like he was trying to hold my whole world together, I knew something had to change. Not suddenly, not perfectly, not magically. But something inside me shifted. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, like the slow return of breath after crying, like the first ray of morning light after hours of darkness. I wish I could say that I woke up the next day with everything solved, but healing doesn't happen that way. Life doesn't snap back into place just because we wish it would. But what did happen was this. I woke up the next morning and, for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel completely empty. I didn't feel alone in the heaviness. I didn't feel like the world was pressing me so far down that I couldn't push myself back up. And the reason was Milo. When I opened my eyes that morning, he was lying on the pillow next to me, facing me like he had been watching over me all night. His eyes blinked slowly, gently, almost like he was relieved to see me awake. He stretched one paw out and placed it on my arm, as if reminding me that I was still here, that I still mattered. I reached out and touched his fur, and he leaned into my hand. That simple exchange, his presence, my touch, pulled me back into myself far more than any words could have done. It reminded me that even in the darkest moments, something soft and real was still connected to me. Something loyal, something grounding. I spent that entire day moving slowly, carefully, like someone learning to walk again. Milo followed me everywhere. If I made tea, he sat on the counter watching me with half-closed eyes. If I sat on the couch, he curled up on my lap. If I walked from the bedroom to the kitchen, he trotted right behind me like a shadow. It wasn't clinginess, it was intention. He was choosing to be exactly where I was, and I needed that more than I could ever explain. As the days passed, I started making small changes, tiny, almost invisible steps toward rebuilding myself. I organized one drawer, I opened one window. I sat outside for 5 minutes just to breathe. I talked to a coworker for the first time in weeks. None of it was easy. But every single time I took even the smallest step, Milo was there, always watching, always encouraging in his quiet way. There were still nights when I felt everything closing in on me again. Nights when my mind wouldn't stop spinning, when the pressure felt too much, when I lay awake staring at the ceiling, unsure how to calm myself. And without fail, Milo knew. He would climb onto my chest, curl himself into a perfect circle, and begin purring in that deep, steady rhythm that seemed engineered by nature to soothe a breaking heart. His weight, light but grounding, kept me from drifting too far into the chaos in my head. His warmth reminded me that comfort still existed. His presence reminded me that connection hadn't abandoned me. One night, during a particularly overwhelming week, I sat at my desk trying to finish a work assignment. My hands were shaking from stress. My breathing felt uneven. Every sound in the apartment felt amplified, almost irritating. I pushed my chair back, leaned forward, and pressed my hands over my face. I didn't know whether to cry, or scream, or just sit there silently. Milo jumped onto the desk. He didn't knock anything over. He didn't meow. He simply sat directly in front of me and placed a paw on my wrist. When I looked up, he was staring straight at me with those amber eyes, steady, calm, almost protective. And for some reason, that broke the tension in the most unexpected way. I breathed, really breathed, for the first time that day. I lifted him gently and held him against my chest, burying my face in his fur. He purred and purred like the sound alone could knit my scattered thoughts into place. That moment became another turning point. It taught me that being overwhelmed doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And having someone, human or not, stay when you're at your lowest is a gift you never forget. Weeks later, when things finally stabilized at work and I began feeling stronger inside myself, I realized something. Milo hadn't just helped me survive those dark moments. He had guided me out of them. He had been the soft landing I desperately needed, the steady presence that held me together, the comfort I didn't know how to ask for. The truth is, pets don't fix our problems. They don't take away the stress or erase the struggle. But they remind us, in the purest way possible, that we're not alone in it. They give us connection when we feel disconnected. They give us warmth when we feel cold inside. They give us presence when our minds drift too far away. And that's exactly what Milo did for me. He didn't just see me struggling. He responded. He stepped in. He stayed. He comforted me when I felt like comfort didn't exist anymore. He anchored me back into my own life. And slowly, day by day, he helped me rebuild from the inside out. To this day, he still climbs onto my shoulder when I sit on the floor. It's become his signature move, like his way of reminding me, I still got you. And every time he does it, I remember the night he saved me from drowning in my own silence. People often ask why I talk about Milo the way I do. They laugh when I say he's more than a pet. They tease me when I say he's my partner in healing. But they weren't there. They didn't feel what I felt. They didn't experience the way his presence filled the cracks life had carved into me. He became the only comfort I had left. And eventually, he became the comfort that led me back to myself. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this story. It means more than you know. If this touched you in any way, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, or share this video with someone who might need a reminder that comfort can come from the most unexpected places. Your support helps stories like this reach more people who need them.